Hello dear friends, welcome to Gate Academy Global. Before starting today's session, I would like to take the feedback or the concurrence regarding the quality of audio as well as video. If it is perfect, just write perfect over the live chat and then we are ready to go ahead. The agenda behind today's video has been very precise and clear. From yesterday onwards, we have started a new series over the engineering mathematics from where we are learning the basic concept of the engineering mathematics from the very sketch itself. And what are the different branches would get covered within the series of the engineering mathematics? All of the branches, whether you are from electrical, electronics, mechanical, civil, chemical, production, all of the concern branches within the gate where the mathematics has been the part of its syllabus, Anyways, the agenda behind today's video has been very precise and clear. We are going to discuss about one of the very basic curve of the engineering mathematics where I would be discussing about the straight line. In today's video, I am going to discuss about the straight line. And the student who have attended my last class must have been remembered that in last class I was discussing about the logarithmic function. And in today's class, we are going to discuss about the straight line. Anyways, without getting delayed, let me straight away jump into the working board. Just a minute. Yes. So the agenda behind today's video has been one of the most basic curve within the engineering mathematics, or for the time being within the mathematics itself, and that's nothing but the straight line. Straight line. My dear friends, the straight line has been a very important curve, not only in terms of engineering mathematics, even when we deal with our core subjects, then also we deal with the straight line many of the times. So until and unless you do not have the fair idea about the straight line, what are the different properties followed by the straight line, section formula of the straight line, the minimal distance between the 2 points, the area occupied by a certain triangle, there are several factors which are getting involved within this straight line. If it is not clear to you, definitely you are going to lose the marks, not only in engineering mathematics, even you are going to lose the marks even in your technical subject also. So each one of us should be writing the heading of the today's topic, which we are going to discuss into the great detail, is gonna be the straight line. It's gonna be the straight line. Yes, my dear friends, before going into the detailed analysis of the straight line, I would like to raise one problem from all of you. A straight line, whether it's a 2D curve or it is a 3D curve or both. I would like to have the answer from each one of you who have been concurrent viewing my current video. I just wanted to ask one thing. The straight line, whether it's a 2D curve or it can be even 3D curve. Tell me, whether it's a 2D curve or it can be even 3D curve. My dear friends, the straight line can be 2D as well as 3D curve both. 2D as well as 3D curve both. What does that mean by the 2D curve? That means it has been a straight line which has been drawn over a 2D plane. For the time being, if this digital board has been taken as a XY plane, where the horizontal axis has been taken as a X-axis, and similarly vertical axis has been taken as a Y-axis, and if I have drawn a straight line over the XY plane itself, neither I have gone towards outside, neither I have gone towards the inside, put together that a straight line has been falling over this plane itself. And one of the most important property which this straight line is following, what? Only there is a change in X and Y. Only there is a change in XY, and hence that 2D line would be called as that straight line would be called as a 2D line. Yes. Similarly, it can be even 3D structure. Like if I had a thread, if thread has been not over here, and if we are keep extending, and let's take this has been another point where the another point of the thread has been not. So now you yourself would be able to understand, if you are moving over this thread, the thread has been a straight line. But once you will be moving over the thread, the value of X, Y and Z, all of three components are changing its value. What does it mean of it? Although it has been a straight line, but it has been a 3D straight line. So the first important point should go in your mind that the straight line can be 2D as well as 3D in structure. What does that mean by the 2D? That means only two values, maybe XY, maybe YZ or maybe ZX is changing when you are traveling over the straight line. In that case, it's gonna be a 2D straight line. And similarly, if the value of X, Y and Z together are going to change, if you are moving over the straight line, that straight line is gonna be 3D straight line. So till this point, each and everything must be clear to all of us. At the very beginning, I would be focusing over the 2D straight line. I would start the discussion with the 2D straight line. 2D straight line. There are several ways through which the 2D straight line can be represented mathematically. Among them, the first way to represent the 2D straight line is equals to y is equals to of mx plus c. Y is equals to of mx plus c. May I know what's the m over here and what's the x c over here? Obviously, you must be knowing about it. If it is not knowing, definitely you can write over here. The m is the slope of the straight line, straight line, and c is the intersection of straight line, at y-axis. Yes, and one of the most important thing or most important property which is getting governed by the 2D straight line is that the slope of the straight line remains uniform throughout its length. What it is? That is nothing but m. If you want to write, you can write somewhere. The slope of the straight line, is uniform throughout the length. Throughout the length. Yes. Let me take an example. For the time being, the example of the straight line has been y is equals to of 2x plus of 1. And if you wanted to draw y is equals to 2x plus 1 over the 2D plane, how this curve would look like? For that, what I am going to do over here, let me sketch a xy plane first. Here goes the x-axis or the horizontal axis. Here goes the y-axis. That's nothing but the vertical axis. My dear friend, how much deviation you have taken taking the reference of x-axis towards upside or the downside has been the accountability of y. Similarly, how much displacement you have taken towards right hand side or the left hand side taking the reference of y-axis has been the accountability of x. So in another way, I can say the x-axis is equals to of y is equals to 0 axis. Why? If you go towards upside taking the reference of x-axis, the y would be keep increasing in the positive sense, and similarly if you go towards downside, the y would be keep decreasing. The same thing goes with the component of x. If you go towards right hand side taking the reference of y-axis, x would be keep increasing, and if you go towards left hand side, the value of x would be keep decreasing. What does that mean? Precisely at y-axis, the value of x would be 0, and similarly precisely over the x-axis, the value of y would be 0. So in future, rather calling it x-axis, I would be calling it as y is equals to 0 axis, and similarly, rather calling it y-axis, I would be calling it as x is equals to 0 axis. So whenever you have a straight line in a form of y is equals to of mx plus c, and if you really want to see how the graphically it looks like, what you had to do in that case, you just had to feed x is equals to 0. Once you feed x is equals to 0, what you get the value of y as? Y has been found to be 1. Similarly, in next step, you can feed y is equals to 0, and once you feed y is equals to 0, you get the value of x, and once you have the 2 point through which the straight line is passing, by default, you would be able to draw the straight line. If you want to write, you can write somewhere, if the 2 point through which the straight line is passing is known to me, I can draw the straight line perfectly. I repeat, if I know the 2 points through which the straight line is passing, I can draw the straight line perfectly. So we need the 2 points. Just wanted to ask from each one of you, the people who are concurrent viewer over the live chat, with the help of 1 point, can I uniquely draw the straight line? No. Let's take the 1 point has been this point, and if you want to draw a unique line which has been passing through this point, it won't be unique. It could be this as a straight line, it could be this as a straight line, it could be this as a straight line. So obviously, you cannot draw a unique equation or a unique curve of the straight line if you know only 1 point through which the straight line is going to pass. Yes? If you know the two distinct points, definitely taking the reference of this 2 distinct point, you can draw a straight line which would be unique in nature. Should I be repeating once again? Yes. if you know the 2 points through which the straight line is passing, uniquely you can draw that straight line. Uniquely you can draw that straight line. So that is what I have been doing. No, I just wanted to know where it is crossing x-axis, and similarly I wanted to know where it is crossing y-axis. What does it mean by the x-axis? X-axis, that means y is equals to 0, and once I keep y is equals to 0, the value of x has been found to be 1 would go towards left hand side, would make it minus 1 by 2, minus 1 by 2. And similarly y-axis, that means keeping x is equals to 0, when I fed the value of x as 0, the value of y has been precisely found to be 1. Agree? So at x-axis, it has been crossing through minus 1 by 2 comma of 0, and similarly over the y-axis it has been crossing through 0 comma 1, and you can connect them together, and that would be a straight line. Could you understand what exactly I wanted to say? Many of the times you will come across the situation when you will be having the mathematical equation of the straight line, and you must be figuring it out, or you must be wanting it to figure it out how graphically it look like. So at very beginning what you do, you feed x is equals to 0. What does it mean by the x is equals to 0? That means you wanted to calculate the intersection of this straight line over the y-axis, and you got to know the value of y has been 1. Similarly over the x-axis, the intersection point has been minus 1 by 2. Intersection point has been minus 1 by 2. Yes. Let me take another problem, and I would like to ask from each one of you. Let's take the problem has been 2x plus of 4y plus of 1 is equals to 0. 1 is equals to 0. Would like to ask from each one of you, what would be the intersection of this straight line over the x-axis and similarly over the y-axis? I would like to take the feedback or the concurrence from each one of you. Taking the reference of this straight line 2x plus of 4y plus of 1 is equals to 0, you had to tell me what would be its intersection point over the x-axis as well as y-axis. Tell me, what would be the intersection over the x-axis as well as y-axis? Tell me, what would be its intersection over the x-axis as well as y-axis? My dear friends, what does it mean by the x-axis? Mathematically, x-axis is very same as y is equals to 0. Once you will be feeding y is equals to of 0, easily you can find the value of x, and the value of x would be 1 would go towards right hand side, would make it minus 1 divided by of 2, and hence it becomes x is equals to of minus 1 by 2. So the intersection of this straight line over the x-axis would be at minus 1 by 2. Similarly, if you focus over the intersection of this straight line over the y-axis, mathematically y-axis is being written as x is equals to 0. Once we feed x is equals to 0, I can get the value of y, and what it is, the 1 goes towards right hand side, it would become minus 1 and divided by 4. So the value of y would become minus 1 divided by 4, minus 1 divided by 4. So in future, if you would like to draw this curve over the 2D plane, let's take it has been a 2D plane. The horizontal axis has been the x-axis and the vertical axis has been the y-axis. It has been clearly known. Over the horizontal axis, it would be crossing to the minus 1 by 2. It would be crossing to the minus 1 by 2. Yes. So here it goes minus 1 by 2 comma 0. And similarly over the y-axis, it crosses through minus 1 by 4. Minus 1 by 4. So you yourself would be able to visualize how the straight line would look like. The straight line would something look like this. Would something like this. Would something like this. Till this point, probably each and everything must be clear to all of us. Must be clear to all of us. Now in the next sequence, what I am going to do over here, let's take the y is equals to of mx plus c itself. Y is equals to of mx plus c itself. The same methodology we are going to apply over here. At very beginning, what I am going to do, I am going to keep x is equals to 0, and when the x has been fed as 0, the y has been found to be c. Similarly, when I would be feeding y is equals to of 0, the x has been found to be minus c divided by of m. It is a very, very important outcome. So in future, you can say if the straight line has been given in the form of y is equals to of mx plus c, a straight line is going to cross the y-axis at y is equals to c, and similarly it's going to cross x-axis at minus c divided by m. So the intersection points are going to be At y-axis 0 comma c, and similarly over the x-axis it's gonna be minus c by m comma of 0, minus c by m comma of 0. So let me mark it out. Let me mark it out over here. Let me mark it out over here. Here it goes minus c by m comma 0, and here it goes 0 comma c, and once we'll add them together, definitely we would be getting the graphical structure of a straight line. Graphical structure of the straight line. Graphical structure of the straight line. Could you understand what I am saying? So each one of us should have the clear-cut idea what we have been dealing so far and what was the basic strategy which we will be following in today's class. My dear friends, let me repeat once again what has been the agenda of today's class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the concept of the straight line. At very beginning, I wanted to communicate the straight line can be 2D in the nature or the 3D in the nature. What does it mean by the straight line which is a two-dimensional? That means the straight line has been drawn over a 2D plane. It could be XY plane, it could be XZ plane, or it could be YZ plane. Similarly, what does it mean by the three-dimensional straight line? The three-dimensional straight line is a straight line when you move over the straight line, all of the three coordinate values which are supposed to be X, Y and Z are going to change. Like you can have a straight line which has been stretched like this, and when you are moving over the straight line, the value of X, Y and Z all are changing together. Similarly, at very beginning I was focusing over the 2D form of the straight line. The basic most standard form of the straight line which we encounter many of the times, which used to be y is equals to of mx plus c. What the m states? The m states the slope of the straight line. Similarly, what the c states? The c states the intersection of the straight line over the y-axis, and that is why has been written over here. The m has been the slope of the straight line, c has been the intersection over the y-axis. The next thing goes over here. The slope of the straight line is uniform throughout the length. What does that mean of it? That means in future, if you have been at this place, or if you have been at this place, or if you have been at this place, the slope which you will be experiencing, it's gonna be pretty same. Either you take the reference of this point, either you take the reference of this point, either you take the reference of this point. So a straight line is the only mathematical equation which used to have the slope similar or uniform throughout its length. That is why if you will take the differentiation of a straight line, the result what we get, it's simply m, and keep in mind the m is independent from x. So that is what the same thing is being communicated by the differentiation also. Yes. Differentiation also. So probably till this point each and everything must be clear to all of us. Now the next thing comes in mind. How many people are live? The 4 number of people are live. So whatever the questions I am raising in between, you must be giving the answer such that we'll have the two-way communication, and definitely you as well as me would be enjoying the lecture very much. The next problem or the next pattern of writing the straight line could be ax plus of by plus of c is equals to 0. I repeat, the next format to write the form of the straight line in the 2D plane can be ax plus of by plus of c is equals to 0, and this format has been formed, or this format has been read when we were discussing in the class 9th or the class 10th. Yes. Sumit Kumar, after which chapter we are going to study? So Sumit Kumar, I can take the input from you guys itself. So when the basic part of the engineering mathematics is getting over, I would take the feedback from each of you, and if you say we can start the linear algebra, definitely we can start the linear algebra. Whatever the topic you guys are suggesting, definitely we can start from that point. Agree? So what I am saying, this is another way to represent the straight line. Yes, whether it is a form of the straight line or not, obviously it has been a form of the straight line, as the degree of x has been 1, degree of y has been 1, and where a, b, c, they have been a real coefficient. What I am saying here, a, b, c has been the real coefficients. Yes. Within this format, I am going to raise few of the important questions. I have seen many of the students used to get stuck over that point. Let's assume I have had the two straight lines. Let's take the first equation of the straight line has been 2 times of x plus of 3y is equals to of 7. Similarly, x plus of y is equals to of 3. I would like to ask from each one of you, find the value of x and y. Find the value of x and y from the pair of a linear equation. This is the first practice question of the day. This has been the first practice question of the day. What I am saying, just a minute, let me switch it off. What I am saying, I have got the two pair of the straight line. The first pair of the straight line has been 2x plus of 3y is equals to of 7. The second has been x plus y is equals to of 3. I need to find the value of x and y after solving this pair of the linear equation. Tell me, what would be the answer for the x and y? I would like to have the answer from each one of you. Tell me. And as I have suggested, have the two-way communication such that I would be able to deliver more just by watching your answer and your pace of answer. Tell me, what would be the answer of x and y? Tell me, what would be the answer of x and y which would be satisfying this pair of the linear equation? No answer. Anyways, my dear friends, there are several methods through which I can get the value of x and y. Either I can use the elimination method, either I can use the cross multiplication method. There are several methods through which I can use the value of x and y. But in case of gate, you had to save your time. Yes, the answer has started coming. The y has been, Sumit Kumar is saying 4 and minus 1. Tell me, what is the best most answer? Tell me. Still two answers have come so far. I want the precise most answer for the x as well as y. My dear friends, what I did, could you understand? Deliberately, I have fixed the value of x and y at very beginning. I fixed the value of x as 2 and I fixed the value of y as 1. And taking these values in my mind, I made the two different linear equations. Like 2 2 would become 4 plus of 3 1 would become 7. That is why I have found, or I have framed the first linear equation as 2x plus 3y is equals to 7. Similarly, taking the same fundamental, what I did, I took x plus y where the x has been already fixed to 2 and y has already been fixed to 1. Once we'll add them together, the worth has been 3. But what happens whenever you used to have this sort of pair of linear equation in gate examination, sometime getting the precise values of x and y becomes very difficult. May I know what would be the simplest form or the simplest process or the simplest steps through which you can get the value of x and y? I would say to each one of you, follow the simplest process which I am going to reveal over here. First, bring this constant towards left hand side and convert it to this form. That means the first equation, earlier it was 2x plus of 3y is equals to of 7, now has been changed to 2x plus of 3y minus of 7 is equals to 0. Similarly, in the same second equation, what we are going to do, x plus y is going to be very same. The 3 would get swapped towards left hand side, would make it minus 3 is equals to 0. And now you are in search of the calculation of x as well as y. My dear friend, the x as well as y both would have the common denominator. May I know what would be that common denominator? you just hide this constant value and then you take its determinant. How the determinant would be taken? The 2 would get multiplied with 1, that would become 2, minus 1 into 3, that would become 2 minus 3. So in both of the cases, the denominator is going to be minus 1 and minus 1. Minus 1 and minus 1. Yes, definitely. In this time, Laplace transformation also we are going to cover, no issue. Now, as you are in search of x, what you will do, you will hide the component of x now. Again, you will take the determinant. The determinant is going to be 3 into of minus 3, that is a minus 9. Minus 9, and here goes the minus times of minus 7 gets multiplied with 1, that is nothing but minus 7. Minus 9 plus of 7 is going to be minus of 2. Minus of 2 divided by of minus of 1, it's simply going to be 2. It's simply going to be 2. Similarly, as you are focusing over the calculation of y, the same process has to be followed. What you will be doing? Now you will be hiding the column which contains the component of y, and again you will take the determinant. The 2 gets multiplied with the minus 3, which would be minus of 6, and similarly minus times of minus 7 into 1, and that would be this, minus of 7. May I know what's the result to come? My dear friends, here it's going to be minus 6 plus of 7, that would become plus of 1 divided by of minus of 1, the result would be minus of 1. Keep in mind, whenever you calculate the value of y, by default, the minus gets multiplied at the end of the result. As far as the result is concerned, the result has been minus 1, the minus would get multiplied, the result would be precisely 1. The result would be precisely 1. So probably I understand that now you guys would be well acquainted to find the values of x and y with the simplified approach, because this has been the problem which used to come in GATE examination repeatedly, either in terms of engineering mathematics or even this sort of numerical or the linear equation gets formed in your technical problems also. I have seen the student suffers a lot to get the value of x and y. I would say this would be the simplest form to get the value of x and y when you have been dealing with the pair of the linear equation. Should I be repeating once again? First, convert the given linear equation into the form of ax plus by plus c is equals to 0. That means there should not be any component which should be there towards right hand side. It has to be brought towards left hand side. It has to be arranged as the component of x, component of y, and the constant. Like here we had component of x, component of y, constant is equals to 0. The same goes with the second linear equation, which has been x plus of y minus of 3 is equals to 0. Now you are in process of getting the value of x and y. X and y would have the same common factor towards denominator. What it would be? You had to just hide this constant factor out over here and you had to take its determinant. The 2 gets multiplied with 1, that's simply 2 minus of 3. Obviously, towards denominator side, we are getting minus 1. In the same process, we are in process of getting the worth of x. We will be taking the determinant of the rest of the component. So here goes the 3 into minus of 3, that's a minus of 9, and here goes the minus of minus 7, that's nothing but the plus of 7, minus of 9 plus of 7, which would be minus of 2. Minus of 2 gets divided with the minus of 1, the worth would be 2. Here there is no additional multiplication of minus sign. That would take place only when you would be calculating the value of y. Similarly, the same process has to be followed over here, but it is the y has to be hidden over here. The 2 would get multiplied with the minus 3, which would lead minus 6. Minus 7 would get multiplied with 1, would lead minus of 7. Obviously, they had to get subtracted. At numerator, you would be having plus of 7 minus of 6, that's a plus of 1 divided by of minus of 1, that would result minus of 1, but end of the day, the minus has to get multiplied. The result would be plus of 1. So in the same sequence, let me take few more number of questions. Tell me the value of x and y with the same methodology or the same simplified methodology which I have applied into the last question. Tell me what would be the best most answer for this given problem. The first linear equation has been 2x plus of 2y is equals to of 8. The second linear equation has been 2x plus of 3y is equals to 10. I want the answer within the fraction amount of minute. Fraction amount of minute. At very beginning, what you can do, you can reshuffle this linear equation a bit, just to found a format in a form of ax plus of by plus of c is equals to 0. The 8 would get jumped towards the left hand side, and which has become 2x plus of 2y minus of 8 is equals to 0. Similarly, the second equation has to be fabricated into the same format, where the 2x plus of 3y would remain towards the left hand side, the 10 would be jumped towards the right hand side, and the next equation would become 2. Next equation would become 2. And how we will be getting the value of x and y? When you get the value of x and y, both would have the common factor towards the denominator side. May I know what would be that worth? You had to hide this minus 8 and minus 10. The 2 3ja, that would be 6, minus of 4, that is nothing but 2 itself. Yes, I would repeat once again. 2 3ja, that's the 6, minus of 4, that's simply 2 here. That's simply 2 here. Similarly, if you are in process of calculation of x, definitely you had to hide the component of x over here. The 2 gets multiplied with the minus 10, that will become minus 20. Minus 20 is going to be added with 24. Yes, no? Minus 20 is going to be added with 24. Why I am saying added? Because minus 8 would get multiplied with 3, and at last it has to get multiplied with the minus sign, so obviously they would get added together. 24 gets subtracted with the 20. Obviously the result which we will be having in our hand is simply going to be 4 divided by 2. The result would be simply 2. The result would be simply 2. In the same process, if we move forward, we had to get the value of y. I would be hiding the component of y over here. The 2 gets multiplied with the minus 10, which would be simply equals to of minus 20. Similarly, minus 8 gets multiplied with the 2 and then gets multiplied with the minus 1. Put together is going to be plus of 16. Plus of 16. So, end of the day, the result what we are getting in our hand is simply going to be minus 20 plus of 16, that would be minus of 4. Minus 4 divided by 2, that would result minus 2. But again, minus sign has to get multiplied during the calculation of y. During the calculation of y. Yes. So, may I know what's going to be the worth of x and y? The worth of x and y has been 2 and 2. So, I understand from here onwards, nobody is going to spend the unnecessarily time while calculation of x and y. How tedious the problem is, how tedious the coefficients are, but still you would be able to get the value of x and y probably within maybe 1 minute. 1 minute. In the same sequence, let me take another problem. Let me take another problem. Find the value of x and y once again. Find the value of x and y once again. The 2x plus of 3y has been minus 1, and similarly x minus of y has been 2. Find the value of x and y. Find the value of x and y. What we do while calculation of the x and y, I used to frame this straight line in the form of ax plus of by plus of c is equals to of 0. That means the 2x would remain as it is, 3y as it is, minus 1 would be flipped towards left hand side, would become plus of 1 is equals to 0, and here it would become x minus of y minus of 2 is equals to 0. Now in process of calculation of x and y, we used to have the common denominator factor. Let me focus over that common denominator factor first. How do we calculate it? Obviously this constant factor has to be hidden over here. The 2 would get multiplied with the minus 1, that's going to be minus of 2 minus of 3. Yes, minus of 2 minus of 3 would make it minus of 5. So here towards the x and as well as towards y, towards the denominator side you will be having the worth as minus 5, minus 5, minus 5 and minus 5. Now let me focus over the calculation of x. While calculation of x, definitely we are going to hide the component of x first. So what's going to be the worth we are getting over here? My dear friends, what is happening over here? The 3 would get multiplied with the minus 2, that would be minus 6. And here minus 1 gets multiplied with the plus 1, and thereafter it will get multiplied with the minus sign, because we are calculating its determinant. So end of the day, here it has been minus 6 plus of 1, and that has been minus of 5. So end of the day, the result what we have is minus 5 divided by minus 5. The value of x has been found to be 1. Yes. Similarly, in the same process, if you wanted to get the value of y, which process you had to follow? You had to hide the information which were there along with the y, and again you had to take the determinant. How the determinant is being taken? The 2 has to get multiplied with the minus 2, obviously the result would be minus 4, and similarly 1 would get multiplied with the 1, the result would be 1 along with the minus sign, so here it becomes minus of 1, minus of 1. So here it's going to be minus of 5 divided by minus of 5, the result would be 1, but by default the minus sign has to get multiplied whenever you get the value of y. Whenever you get the value of y. So precisely the value of y which we have got it over here is going to be minus of 1. Minus of 1. If you want, you yourself would be able to see, yes, it has been followed over here. It has been followed over here. So probably till this point each and everything must be clear to all of us. If you want to see graphically whether they have been intersecting at a point 1 comma of minus 1, you can see by your 2D Desmos drawer also. My dear friends, what I can do over here, I can take the first straight line as 3y would be kept towards left hand side. The 2x goes towards right hand side would become it minus 2x minus of 1. So the first straight line would become minus of 2x minus of 1 divided by of 3. Similarly, in the same fashion, if I would like to write the second equation or the second form of the straight line, so it can be written as a y is equals to of x minus of 2. X minus of 2. Yes? Yes, could you understand what I am saying? So deliberately I have changed this straight line in a form of y is equals to f of x, which has been 3 of y, the 2 of x would go towards right hand side, would make it minus of 2x minus of 1, and here end of the day it's going to be minus of 2x minus of 1 divided by 3, and here it becomes y is equals to of x minus 2. Y is equals to of x minus 2. Let me see whether they are going to intersect at the point 1 comma minus 1 or not. For that, what I am going to do, I am going to use the Desmos 2D grapher. Desmos 2D grapher. Just a minute. I need to share the screen first. The session ID has been, just a minute. Three, two, three, two, two, 3, 5, 7, 9, and here it has been Sonal. Let's take the session name has been Sonal. Why it's not getting connected? Just a minute. Here it has been 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Anyways, there has been certain problem. Otherwise, once you'll draw the curve, no, the one curve would be positively sloped, the another curve would be negatively sloped, and both of them would get connected at plus 1 and minus 1. Plus 1 and minus 1. If the grapher is coming over here, definitely we'll try to draw over there. Yes, we'll try to draw over here. So would like to ask from each one of you, till this point each and everything is clear or not? Till this point each and everything is clear or not? Tell me. Just a minute. Here it becomes 4, 1, 6, 3, 6, 3, 1, 4. Let me see whether it's getting connected. No, it's not getting connected. Leave aside. Leave aside. Yes. So till this point, each and everything must be clear to all of us. Now let me move forward. If you had the two pair of linear equation for the time being, the first pair of linear equation has been a1x plus of b1y plus of c1 is equals to of 0, and the second equation of the linear equation has been a2x of b2y plus of c2 is equals to 0. Let's take it has been the first equation of the straight line and it has been the second equation of the straight line, and they have been the pair of the straight line. pair of the straight line. They have been the pair of the straight line. My dear friends, whenever you deal with the linear form of the equation in the inhomogeneous form, obviously it has been in inhomogeneous form, how many different conditions of the solutions we can have? How many different conditions of the solutions we can have? We can have no solution, we can have infinitely many solution, and we can have unique solution. Unique solution. Tell me, what are the different relationships must be followed by the coefficients of both of the linear equation to fall under the no solution case, infinitely many solution case, as well as unique solution case? Probably you could have studied this thing in class 9th as well as 10th, so you can recall what we have studied over the class 9th and 10th. What does it mean by the no solution? My dear friends, the two straight line used to be in the case of no solution when their slopes are exactly same. What I am saying, when their slopes are exactly same and they are not falling over the each other. I repeat, when you would be having the case of no solution, you would be having the case of no solution when you have got the two straight lines, both had the same slopes, and keep in mind their values of C are different. What does it mean by the values of C are different? That means their intersection over the y-axis has been different. Intersection over the y-axis has been different. So if you talk about the no solution, no, their slopes has to be same. How the slope has to be same? The slope has to be same if the A1 versus A2 is very same as B1 versus of B2. I repeat, A1 versus of A2 is very same as B1 versus of B2, but their ratios are not matching with the values of C. The values of C. So in case of no solution, the A1 versus A2 should be equals to of B1 versus B2, but it should not be equals to of C1 versus C2. So by default, without calculating its complete form of the augmented form, the rank calculation, each and everything, you need not to go into the detailed form. You can simply call it, yes, it has been the case of no solution. Tell me when it would come under the case of infinite solution, when their slopes has been same and even the intersection over the y-axis has been same. That means even the value of C has also been same. The value of C also has been same. So in this case, it would found or it will fall under the infinitely many solution. And similarly, when it would found under the unique solution, my dear friend, if you have made sure that both of these straight line have got the two different or two distinct slopes, by default they are going to intersect somewhere uniquely. So for that you had to just ensure the A1 versus A2 should not be equals to of B1 versus of B2. B1 versus of B2. If you talk about the case of no solution, how it would look like, you will be having the two straight lines, both would be parallel to each other. Both would be parallel to each other and their intersection over the y-axis has been different. Let's take here it has been C1 and here it has been C2. Here it has been C2. Similarly, if you will be talking about the infinitely many solution, what does it mean of it? That means you had the two straight line and they have been coincident. What does it mean by the coincident? Let's take it has been the first straight line, the second straight line falls over the first straight line. So may I know how many number of points they have been meeting to each other? Obviously all of the point which falls under the first straight line or the second straight line would be the possible solutions. Similarly, if we will talk about the infinitely many solution, and now the infinitely many solution has been changed to the unique solution. Unique solution. When you will be having the unique solution? You will be having unique solution if both of these straight line have got the two distinct slopes, and if they have got the two distinct slopes, definitely they are going to be intersected somewhere uniquely. And for that, what is the requirement over here? And that's nothing but the A1 divided by A2 should not be equals to of B1 divided by B2. B1 divided by B2. Yes, let me take few number of problems. Let's take the problem has been 2x plus of 3y let's take it's a 4y plus of 6y plus of 12 is equals to of 0. this has been the pair of linear equation. Tell me the type of solution this pair of linear equation would carry. The type of solution which this linear pair would carry. The type of solution which this linear pair would carry. My dear friend, you just had to focus over their slopes. Exclusively you need not to calculate its slope, just focus over the coefficient of x, coefficient of y, and take their ratios. The 2 versus 4, 3 versus 6. May I know whether their ratios are same? Obviously their ratios have been same. 2 divided by 4 indicates half and 3 divided by 6 indicates half. And if A1 versus of A2 is equals to of B1 versus of B2, obviously you would fall under two of the category, either the no solution case or the infinitely many solution case. Infinitely many solution case. Now, end of the day, you had to focus over the ratios between C1 and C2. Once you calculate this ratio, even this also have come to be 1 by 2. This also have come to be 1 by 2. That means it has been fallen over which category? The second category. So how many different number of solutions you'll be having for this problem? Obviously it would be having the infinitely many solution. So I have seen this sort of problem have come many of the times. On what the student do, they would bring this problem into the matrix. There they would be calculating the rank of A augmented B, and then they will be comparing with the number of unknown variables, how much hell amount of time it takes. So what I am saying, whenever you have been discussing, or whenever in question they have been discussing about the type of solution, and whenever they have been taking the reference of linear pair of equation, you can follow this methodology. You can follow this methodology. Yes, let me move forward. Let me move forward. 2x plus 3y plus 6 is equals to 0. Let's take 12x plus 18y plus, let's take a is equals to 0. Is equals to 0. Find the value of a. Find the value of a. Value of a. The first question has been, the given pair of equations had infinitely many solution. Infinitely many solution. Second, no solution. Third, unique solution. Unique solution. Tell me what would be the best most answer for this given problem. At very beginning, you had to focus over the coefficient of x, which has been a1, a2, coefficient of y, which has been b1 and b2. You will be taking its ratio separately. So here it goes 2 divided by 12, and here it goes 3 divided by 18. Once you will take their ratios, it has been 1 divided by of 6, and here also it has been 1 divided by of 6. 1 divided by of 6. If you want to create the situation of the infinitely many solution, my dear friends, a1 versus a2 has to be equals to of b1 versus of b2, has to be equals to of c1 versus of c2. What was the c1? The c1 has been 6. So the ratio of 6 divided by of a should also be following the ratio of 1 upon 6. The ratio of 1 upon 6. So once you cross multiply here and here, the a would get multiplied with 1 would become a, and 6 would get multiplied with 6, the result would become 36. So obviously for the infinitely many solution, the value of a has to be precisely 36. The value of a has to be precisely 36. Similarly, if we will be focusing over the case of no solution, if we will be focusing over the no solution, when the no solution would take place, this should not be equals to of 6 divided by a. That means you can keep the value of a anything except 36. So obviously here the possible value of a could be anything except 36. Could be anything except 36. And just by feeding the value of a, you cannot make the situation when you will be having a unique solution. When you will be having the unique solution. Why? Because in case of unique solution, you want the ratio of a1 and a2 should not be equals to of b1 and b2, but it has been given as the a1 versus a2 has been precisely equals to of b1 versus b2. That means you cannot frame this problem into the unique form of the solution. unique form of the solution. Yes. Anyways, I would request to each one of you, try to maintain the population at least during the live communication or live video, such that any sort of doubt you guys are having, I would be able to clear that doubt there itself. Because once you will be watching this video, once this video has been uploaded or has been made stream, see what happens. Probably you will not have that much interest. That's the first thing. And secondly, you cannot ask any sort of doubt. So this is all about the part of 2D straight line. Few more important concepts we are going to discuss in the next class, and next class we will also be discussing about the 3D straight line. So this is all about today's video. We would be meeting precisely at 9 PM tomorrow, and yes, the span of our class used to be 1 hour, so that means we'll start our class at 9 PM and we'll bind up at 10 PM. So we'll meet tomorrow precisely at 9 PM. Till then, bye bye, take care and good night.